Hey, what's going on, everybody? Game Geezer here. I just wanted to post a video here, a quick video about my 7700K. I know a lot of people are asking questions about it, especially because Ryzen's out and maybe they're on the fence about what they want to build because, it's hard to take advice from people when they're more of a fan of one versus the other. So I just wanted to explain exactly how hot the 7700K runs, and I've been using this computer for a few months now, and I want to show you exactly how hot that CPU gets, and it does get quite hot. This is my personal rig. I bought for myself recently, built it and everything just before Ryzen launched, and I didn't get anything special or anything like that. I just ordered my stuff off Newegg, and this is my experience with that chip. Now, that being said, the results you're going to see are with a high-end Asus motherboard. So I have the Maximus formula, and so keep that in mind, because if you have a cheaper motherboard, it can affect your results as far as voltage and overclocking and things like that. So if you have a high-end board, this is pretty much what you can expect to get out of a 7700K. So just as an overview here, I have the Fantex Intho Evolve case. I'll try and throw in a video clip, maybe somewhere around now or something, or some pictures. And I actually have a video up where you can see my fan setup. So what I'm running in here is the NZXT Kraken 280 radiator, the X62 model, in a push-pull configuration. And I also have I have three 140mm case fans pulling heat out, and I also have my Corsair power supply doing its thing with the heat, and I also have a 980 Ti blower style card that's pulling heat out. So as a reference here, all of my case fans are at static 80%, and that's important because you're going to get good results with static fan settings. So all my case fans that are not involved with the CPU are just static 80% all the time. Now, for the sake of the test, helping it, just to push it over, I even have my GPU here, and I'm going to set it the fan to a higher setting so it'll help pull more heat out of the case, more air. So I'm going to load my GPU up there, and now for sure the GPU fan is helping pull heat as well. So now that we got that all out of the way, I also have my CPU here. See my CPU temp already jumping up kind of pretty good amount here, just because I'm recording and stuff. But if I go to, I believe it's tuning and cooling, yeah, you can see here my fan profile. Excuse me. So I have my pump set at a static 100%, and then my fans for my on my radiator, all four of them, are set to 80%, and they only go to 100% when it hits I believe 75 degrees. Then it starts ramping up to 100. So there's that, and we'll keep this dashboard up because it's real simple to read. So I'll leave this up the whole time I'm running these tests. Now, if you're thinking about getting a 7700K, I'm going to tell you right now that if you're not going to run an AIO with some kind of radiator, you're probably not going to be too happy with this chip. Because I have a pretty decent setup here, some good amount of fans, and this AIO set up this way, which is kind of extreme, and the chip does get very hot. Now, I'm going to show you kind of what I've got it clocked at right now, 5 gigahertz. Alright, so 5 gigahertz. You can see my memory here. I have 32 gigs. Kind of my usage there, so there's that. Just wanted to bring that up. And then in my processes, I don't have a whole lot of junk running other than the essentials and what I have open right now. So that's an important thing when you're doing benchmarks. So I only have what needs to be open, really open. So there's that. And then here's this one here, CPU Z. See KB Lake i7, and you can see 5 gigahertz here, multiplier of 50. Alright, you can see the board here, Maximus formula. My memory here, 32 gigs DDR4 and dual channel. So there's that. Just wanted to show you that there. Alright, and here's my tuner here, Asus tuner, and you can see again 5 gigahertz. Alright, now I'm going to show you these benchmarks and I'm going to clock it down with this software and run them again so you can get an idea of how hot this chip's going to run when you start doing stuff like this. Thanks to this here, Cam Studio. So, alright, a couple benchmarks here. We'll go ahead and go into we'll run this benchmark here just to give you a quick stress, and just keep an eye on this temp and load and all that stuff. Run through its courses, and again this is 5 gigahertz here. All these benchmarks are relatively short, that's why I picked them. Look at that, shot up to 80, 77, 84, boom, that's hot. I don't like that. It's coming down again. Okay. Look at that, high CPU, not good. Maybe if I had a 360 rad it would be fine, but 280 is still not enough, even with all these fans set up so high and everything. I'm going to let it finish out its test. Anything above 82 is when I panic. Realistically, I'd like to be under 78 all the time. I mean, the cooler the better, obviously, but if I have to take a high temp, 78 or below would be ideal. For me, anyways. Run through this course here. Okay. Now my scores are a little lower because I'm running so much to record this right now, but these aren't important. What's important was you got to see the temp and all that stuff. So now let's try something else here. Let's try these Cinebenches. I got Cinebench 11.5 and Cinebench R15. They both kind of do a different toll on my CPU. That's why I got both of them. For the remainder of these tests, I'm just going to use the Cinebench. Alright, and I'm going to leave this up so you can see the temps. $78. It's clocking up. 80, 78, 82, 79, 83. Back down to 80. Okay, let it cool down. So there you go. 9.7. I only scored a 9.7 because I'm using all this apps to record stuff right now. But as you can see, my best score was 11.96. If I'm not running too much crap and I'm just running the benchmark straight up, I can get almost a 12. And normally on idle, my CPU temp is between 32 and 35. But since, again, I'm running some stuff, it's up there. Plus, you gotta factor in it's overclocked to 5. So yes, put that back away. Yes, it's putting it in the archive. My score there. Now I'll run 15 cent of inch. Basically, what I'm getting at with these tests is if you want a 7700K, you're going to need to do some extreme cooling on it if you're planning on going to 5 gigahertz. And this is just an honest review here of this chip. Now, when you're running games, unless you're running a CPU intense game, you don't have to worry so much. For example, I could play League of Legends at 5 gigahertz and it won't go over 50 degrees. But that's because it's not sucking down the CPU, you know. So here we go. Here's R15. For those of you who want to see that, I'll run this one. All right. Straight back up to 80 degrees. This is what I meant by they're a little different. See, it's hammering my CPU, but it hasn't hammered it to the point where it's gotten, you know, in the high 80s, or I guess mid 80s. So that's why I wanted to run both, because now you can see which one's really hammering me harder. So there's that. See, my score was also hammered down, 870. My best score was this 1065. Put that away. Save that score too. So now, you've seen these. And the R15 doesn't hammer my CPU as hard, so we're going to run just the 11.5. And maybe for fun I'll throw in Heaven. Okie dokie. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start clocking down and showing you the temp difference. So I'm going to go to a 4.9. 4.9, that should help it out a little bit. And I am running these at 64-bit. So we'll stick with this one for the remainder of the test because you saw for yourself this really hammers me the hardest as far as the temp goes and the stress. So we'll leave this one going. So this is at 4.9. And my CPU won't hit 5.1 or 5.2 in the BIOS without crashing Windows, but I can go to 5. But right now, we're going to run this test as 4.9. .77. You can see it's running a little cooler, but it's still going to spike the temps. .78, 79, 78, 80. So from what I'm getting from this 4.9 is that I could probably run 4.9 in most games, probably all games really, honestly, because it won't max my CPU out. So, you know, 4.9 would be much safer than 5 with my setup. Again, I have a 280 rad. So there's that. Let's clock down to 4.8. Let's just straight up run it again. You can see my score wasn't too bad there, 9.4. Even clock down. So far, not too much of a temp difference between the 4.8 and the 4.9. Yeah, not much difference there. it's kind of one of those things, you might as well take the 4.9. Okay, still pretty hot there. Let's clock it down again, 4.7. Run that. 76. 78, 76. This is a noticeable difference here. It's hovering around 78. Spiked up to 80. Back down to 78. And another thing, since I'm running these back to back, I'm not giving the CPU a chance to really cool itself off. It's just load after load, you know? Okay. So better, but still pretty warm. I mean, you can see why this chip's got a lot of negative connotation as far as heat. You do need a good setup. So 4.6. $75, $76. So I'm sure by now some of you who are wondering just how bad the heat can be on these, it's pretty obvious now that you need some really good cooling to deal with this chip. Now, I mean, you're not going to hammer your CPU when you're playing games at 100%. In most games. I mean, there are games that are going to stress your CPU out, but for the most part, most games should keep you between 25 and 50% CPU usage. And in that case, you know, 5 gigahertz, my temps will still be fine. But for just the heck of it, I wanted to stress it out, show you the temps. And also, my temps are running 10 degrees higher than normal because I'm using XSplit to record. And it's putting a little more stress on it. When I'm just sitting idle, it's between 32, 35. It never bounces in the 40s. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So we'll go ahead and clock down again. Now 4.5 is what I consider the everyday usage setting. Like, I'm comfortable at 4.5, rendering videos and all that stuff, and the temps are okay. So this is where I would say is my bottom setting is 4.5. So run the test. 60 degrees. You can already see a huge dramatic difference. As soon as you go past 4.5, you start going up in temp dramatically. But as you can see now, I'm recording, everything's going, and the temps are nice. You know, these are safe. So these are good temps. Look at that, staying in the 60s. Those will drop even lower if I wasn't recording. So there's that. So as you can see, the difference between 4.5 and anything higher is dramatic. It is just insane. So that's what the big, you know, whole debate is online right now, because as soon as you start going past 4.5, overclocking, you know, that's when it just starts getting insane with the temps. And my cooling setup is respectable. So if you're planning on getting this chip, you need a respectable setup for sure. I wouldn't recommend a CPU cooler. I'd recommend an AIO for this chip, minimum. At minimum 280 rad. You know, I would say if you can go for it, get a 360 rad and some nice fans. Pretty soon here, Excuse me. Pretty soon here, I'm going to actually take my chip out and I'm going to de-lid my chip. And I've seen great results with that. I've seen people get as much as 20 degrees off from doing that and running 5 gigahertz. So I'm planning on doing the same. Pretty soon here, I'm going to de-lid my chip, and I can post some more results on that. Same style like this, benchmarks, and show you the difference between a de-lidded 7700K and a non-de-lidded. Because right here, you can see this is non-de-lidded. This is just what I got and what I'm getting with my current setup. Now, the only way I'm going to get more cooling is A, I need to de-lid, or B, I need to just get rid of my 280 NZXT and go straight for a 360 rad. And I mean, I just bought this, you know, NZXT, so I'm not going to get rid of it yet. I also really love the appearance of it. So I'm going to go for the de-lidding, and if that's still not good enough, I'm going to have to bump it up to a 360 rad, which is pretty extreme, you know. So if you're really considering the 7700K and you want to go past 4.5, just know it's going to come with a cost. And you saw that here, what kind of cost you're looking at. So there's that. Just for the heck of it, I will run Heaven, and I'll clock it back up. Now, Heaven's more of a GPU intensive, but let's do it anyways. Okay, so there's the 5 gigahertz here is all set up. So let's load this up. Check my settings here. Ultra Extreme times 8, 1920. Let's run it. Get my temps up. Alright. So this is 5 gigahertz here. This is basically what you can expect if you're going to run 5 gigahertz while you're playing some games. See the GPU there, 100%, but the CPU there, it's only going to hover around 30 to 50% load while you're gaming on average. And that's going to keep the temps in check. Now, pretty much every game you're going to throw at it, you're probably not going to go past 50% load, but there are games that do hammer the CPU. I believe Grand Theft Auto is one of them. I don't have it here to test, so that's just going to be dependent on what kind of game you're going to throw at this kind of overclock. The more aggressive CPU usage, the higher the temps. But for most of you guys, you're going to be like around this range, 30 to 50%, and you're going to be able to keep the 5 gigahertz and hammer those frames out and still keep cool while doing it. You know, most of, as you can see, 99% of the work is really the GPU as far as results on frame rates and all that stuff. Now, top end obviously does count. So if you're going to run 5 gigahertz, yeah, you should be okay for gaming. You should be. It's something that you do need to keep an eye on because CPU temp is going to be dependent on CPU load percentage. So that's going to be up to you on that. You got to keep an eye on it. But this is what you can expect to see at a 5 gigahertz clock for gaming. And it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's manageable. But just to show you comparison there, I'm going to clock it down to 4.5, and let's see what happens to the temp. Put up my tuner here. 4.5. Okay, so now check out those temps. 46, 47. I don't even expect it to spike up really with the clock set to 4.5. Yeah. Still performing well as far as frames per second. and the temps are way better. Yeah, see quite a difference. So let's see. Yep, frames still going through. Temps are nice. I mean, again, it's just going to depend on the CPU stress when you're gaming. Let me hit 5 again. Back up to 5. Alright, here's back up to 5 again. Spike it up. Straight to 58 there. But as you can see, really nothing extremely dangerous. But again, that's all dependent on the load. I mean, as you can see, the load's not going really past 50%. So if you're going to stay 50% or below, then you're good, for sure. So we'll end it there. And cut it out. Temps up. I'm going to shut my aggressive fan curve for my GPU off. Silence. And I don't need that aggressive curve on there like that for my GPU. I just did it to help pull heat out while doing this test. So yeah. There you have it. That's what you can expect. Not sure what the dealio is on the temps. They are true. The temps are very warm. Keep in mind that I'm running about 10 degrees warmer because I'm recording and it's putting some stress on the CPU. But yes, it's a very warm chip. So if you're looking at the 7700K, do yourself a favor and pick a really nice radiator right off the bat. I mean, everything you saw here was the Kraken 62 with a 280. So if you're not satisfied with what you're seeing, you should go for a 360 if you want this chip. So there's that. All right. I mean, as far as rendering videos, I like to render at 4.5 because I just am not happy with the temps, and I wanted to show that here. Now maybe this will change after I delid the processor because I have seen some crazy results with that. And if you guys want to subscribe and stay tuned for that, I will show that off. I will do this exact same test again, just hammer my CPU with it delidded, and see if maybe we get some temps where I'm more comfortable. Now, as far as my radiator, I really don't want to upgrade to a 360 rad just because the fitment in my case is not going to be really what I'm looking for. But I can do it if I need to. I can do it. But I really like my setup now that I have it. It just looks so nice the way it is. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try delidding next and see how it goes. But as far as my gaming goes, I'm going to leave it at 5 gigahertz right now, and I'm going to go play some League. Now, I know a lot of you probably like, well, that's not really a CPU stressing game, and you're right. It's not. It's just it's a game that's made that's supposed to be easy for most players to run. But if I'm playing like BioShock or whatever, the temps are still okay too. I haven't tried Grand Theft Auto. I heard that's more CPU stress, so maybe if I was running Grand Theft Auto, it would hammer this chip down. But for the most part, I can get away with gaming at 5 gigahertz, which is okay. I mean, if you're trying to bust up some frames, that's what it's all about anyways, right? So there it is. There's the chip in all of its glory. Am I happy with the chip? Yes, I'm happy with the chip. The performance is really good. I would like to try a Ryzen 1800X just to do a comparison. I'm not a fan of one way or the other. I'm a fan of performance. So the good thing with me is you're not going to get a one versus the other kind of deal. I will try whatever anybody makes. I will try it out. I will stress it out. I will tell you if the numbers are good, they're good. I mean, that's the way it is. It should be that way. But you'll hear a lot of people that push you towards one or the other, and I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm about the numbers and the performance. If the numbers make sense and it seems like I should recommend it, I'm going to say, yeah, go for it. So there's that. I'm not biased towards anybody. I'm just going to show you guys what it is, because at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know. So there you have it. The 7700K. Temp's kind of crazy, but for the most part, I love my chip, and I know as soon as I stop this recording, it's going to cool down significantly, and I'll be able to go hit up some league or something, pass some time. But that's what you're going to get, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you saw something you liked. I know a lot of people were very curious about the temps on this chip, and I feel that this is a real simple way to get an idea of, you know, how hot this chip runs. Now I'm going to try to throw in some shots of my my setup here so you can see exactly what I got. I did make some videos on fan fitment in my case, and that'll give you a perfect view of what I'm running, what I've got. And I also, you know, have a video from when I built the computer and all the stuff and all the parts if you're interested in that. So if this was something that you guys thought was really cool, you know, if you want to subscribe to me, that's awesome, because I love getting subs. I just like seeing the number go up, you know, because right now I'm a little nobody on the YouTube there, and I want to hit 100 subs. And I know 100 subs isn't a lot, but for me it is, because it's so hard for me to get subs, you know. So if you would subscribe, that would be freaking awesome. But there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next one. And I don't know, I guess I'm going to order that stuff to get the delitting process going, and I'm going to post a video on that. So stay tuned for that. Show you some more results on that. Yeah. So take care, guys. Bye.